Jeff and Judy here.
Howdy.
Jeff and Judy Go Green. We are expecting a little one in January, so in a few months. So we are cleaning up our act even more than we have been. So we're making big strides, but taking little steps and little things that we can do around here to shrink our carbon footprint and to live cleaner.
So we're going to cover such topics as composting. And what is compost and how do you save it? And what are the different ways of composting? And what are you supposed to compost? And we're going to cover water reclamation, saving your rainwater, and a different way to heat your food besides microwaving. We even might throw in a few recipes. So join us and learn as we learn about going green.
And share some of your ideas of what you've done.
Alrighty, let's go. So we're going to talk about compost today. I have a couple different composting systems going on. Behind me, this is my regular composter that I use just about every day. This is where we put our vegetables, grass clippings, coffee grounds, eggshells, and any plants in the garden that have outlived their usefulness. I throw them in front of the lawnmower and chew them up. And then I empty the grass catcher inside this thing. So as you can see, I turned over some of the stuff that's on the bottom, which is the black, rich, wonderful compost, and I'm turning it on top of the freshly cut grass that I just put in here. And you know, I'm using a garden fork, and you can't use a shovel because a shovel just won't get through to the bottom, but the garden fork sure will, and it allows you to pick up a nice big chunk and turn it on top. I also have here a sprinkler. And it's hooked up to the sprinkler system, and basically it's a micro sprinkler, and it's adjustable, and it just does a nice fine spray in here and keeps everything nice and moist in the summertime. So this is a compost pile. In this particular pile I have a lot of wood chips that I got from a friend, and most tree services will deliver wood chips to your house just to get rid of them. So they're really great for composting as long as you have something to mix them with. If you just put them naked on the soil, they'll rob nitrogen from your plants, and that's not a good thing. So here I mixed them with horse manure, which I got for free from a friend who has a horse, and it's composting really nicely. At first there were some flies and stuff, but now no more. And I do wet it with the hose from time to time to keep it moist. But there's some great chemical reactions going on in here and some great compost getting created. So this is my other composter. This is a rotating composter. It's made with a 55-gallon plastic drum. And with the advantages of this, instead of the other composter where you have to hit it with a pitchfork or a garden fork and take the bottom and basically scoop it up to the top, this one you just rotate, and it's on wheels, and it's a little hard to rotate because it's kind of heavy right now. I got a lot of compost in here, but it's a great way of finishing your compost. So let's say you've got it to a pretty good state in the other container. What I'll do is I'll take it and I'll dump that in here, and I won't add any more compost to this one. I will just use the half-cooked compost and just rotate it in this thing every couple days, and within a month it'll be done, and then I can start putting it in my garden, and I can make compost tea out of it. What's compost tea? I'll show you. is my compost tea station. It's really pretty simple. It's a 5-gallon bucket and full of water, and I usually let the water set out so that the chlorine evaporates, because the chlorine will inhibit bacteria and fungal growth, which is what you want. This is a nylon stocking, and in it is a bunch of compost, but right now it's all used up because I already made about 5 to maybe 5 batches of tea out of this thing, maybe even more, because you can get an awful lot of tea out of one giant tea bag. So this thing is now, the water's just a little murky, but it's not black. And you want the water to be black, all full of compost. What does compost look like? It looks like this. When it's all done, it's black, it's rich, it smells sweet and earthy. It's really, really nice stuff. And it's just ready to go in your garden beds. It's ready to go in your planters, wherever you need to put it. But it's a great organic fertilizer. It's like the best thing there is. So, you know, you want to mix it up with a like 50-50 mix with your garden soil, and till it in there real good, let it set for a few days, and then plant. But the other thing you can do when you have plants growing already is make compost tea. So basically I'll take a cheap nylon stocking, maybe something you got at the dollar store, and take your compost and just pile it in there and shake it down to the bottom. So I also mixed in a little bit of worm poop. You can buy it at your local nursery. And worm poop is a great addition to compost tea, adding some of the complex things that you need in there to make it a really, really good high-grade tea with all the different balance of nutrients that you need for your plants. So I'm just filling this thing up. It does take a little while because it's a kind of a narrow thing, and it gets stuck in there and stuff. But once you kind of put it in the water and it moistens up, it all kind of flows to the bottom. So you just get as much as you can in there. That's a pretty good amount. And then I just stick it in this bucket of water. And I move it up and down a few times, get all the tea compost to the bottom, and it doesn't take much. If you want to take a look now, this water is black now. I just jumped this in here just a couple times, and this water's completely black. Now you can just use your compost tea like this. You just kind of let it set for a little while. It's called a stewed tea. You just take your nylons, you let the compost sit in the water for a couple of days. You basically, the best thing to do though is to pour it from bucket to bucket so it makes a bunch of bubbles. That's a good thing. It adds oxygen, and it needs oxygen or it's going to start to stink because it's going to start to putrefy. That's not good. But the thing that you can do is get one of these little fish pumps. These things here, they're about $10 at your local aquarium store or your local Walmart or wherever you buy stuff for pretty reasonable. And this is called aquaculture, and I think I paid like $12 for it. And it's actually a high volume one, and it just adds oxygen to water. So you have 2 hoses come out of here, and you put a couple of these stones on the bottom. And these little stones, they're kind of slimy right now, but they're blue, and they aerate the water. So that's what I've got going on here. I just put it on in there, and I just plug it in. And that's making a nice, this is called a brewed tea, and the brewed tea has oxygen put in it. And what you can do is just leave it in there for, I just leave it in there for a day. I'm going to get rid of this other older bag that's no longer contributing to the cause anymore, and I'm just going to dump it right back into the composter. But this new bag, this bad boy, this is going to make me, I don't know, probably 20 gallons, 30 gallons of compost tea. Composting. It really is the circle of life. All the excess green and vegetables and stuff that you don't eat goes into the composter, turns into rich, wonderful soil, and it grows new vegetables for you to feed your family. On and on. See you next time on Jeff and Judy Go Green.